Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to this edition of Press Review. This is our last edition for the week for October 15, 2020. The first paper on our newsstand this morning is the Mutation newspaper, which talks of the Mida syndrome, and its lead says the governor of the Central Region has decided to suspend it. Read more on page 7. Page 9 talks of taxes on mobile phone and its forced cancellation. The Newswatch talks of Biya's recognition of Knight Yeshe Jones Yemba in its page 3. We can also read about Honorable Ngala Gerard, who states that he is ready to take bullets for children to go to school. This information is found on page 5. ENAM entrance exam scandal, the paper states that the public service minister justifies why quota was not respected. Le Quotidien newspaper talks of Bindumpat activity and its concentration with regional delegates. On the elections page, the paper carries the article of the document of the third ordinary session of council's elections as its headline states. Le Messager has a bold headline about Maurice Kamto, that's the MRC leader, and how power wants to kill him. It states that the government has responded to the United Nations on the right of a man as concerns Maurice Kamto. We can also read about upcoming regional elections and the disqualification of Emile Anze Anze in page 3. L'Economie talks of Yap Mariatu as the first lady to hold the position of the Secretary General of the International Civil Defense Organization. Page 5 also carries the article of how the COVID-19 has impacted the scholarship domain in 2020. On to the English Daily Guardian Post newspaper, which talks of the call for an end to crackdown on the MRC as the government tells of the UN. Biya recognizes Shea Jones Yemba's selfless service to the nation is also amongst its articles for today's edition. We can also read about the LA Cambod chairperson who announces sanctions on staff accused of fraud. Page 2 carries the story. The Voice newspaper talks of the new mobile telephone levy in rhetorical question, taxation in desperation, found on page 3. The editorial page talks of the queer celebration of General Yeke's assassination in its page 2. Le Jour newspaper talks of the taxes on telephone and states that BIAC has not validated the law yet. The paper also talks of the Football League in its page 9. Quotidien Emergence asks the question of why the head of state, President Paul Biya, is scared to revise the system in its page 5 to 10. The mental health call center has been inaugurated by the government, as the paper states in its page 2. On to Le Quotidien Réalité, which talks of the illegal protest of the MRC party and how the Minister of Communication, René Emmanuel Sadi, has corrected the lies of the UNO. The paper also brings up the issue of the Ezeka train incident as its headline pleads with Camrail to provide food to the victims of the incident. We can read more on page 2 to 4. The Rambler states that the court has halted the SDO's electoral fraud venture in its page 6 and 7. FCFA 2.5 billion Boya Market project lays buried in scandal is also available in today's edition of the Rambler. Page 4 tells us more. And on to L'Étudiant, which states that the Minister of Health has downplayed polio vaccine skeptics, says vaccinated his 3-year-old daughter. The paper also carries the story of parliamentarian Fortson, who slames the state-owned media house, that's the CRTV, for lack of information on the new phone tax law. We end this edition with Cameroon Tribune, which talks of financial scam in the littoral region as more than 1,000 people become victims. Page 19 carries the story. Francois Mbago Institute is also present with effective training that has commenced. This article is found on page 30 and 31. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your kind attention. This is where we end this edition of Press Review. Do have a great weekend.